Hi there, welcome to another edition of the Global Economic Outlook. My name is Philip, and I'll be taking you through the major events in the global economy. But before we go on, please remember to click the subscribe button so that you can get regular updates from this channel. So we'll go straight into the main story for this week, which is about Archegos collapse. So it's titled Archegos collapse shows that sophisticated financial strategies are not foolproof. So who is Archegos Capital Management? So it's a $10 billion single family office that was founded by Bill Ong. The company was actually set up in 2013 to manage the private wealth of Wang. But in March, the company collapsed. So we'll be looking at some of the reasons why the company collapsed and why it was even set up as a family office in the first place. So what is a family office? So according to Investopedia, it is a full-service private management service that serves just one or a small number of ultra-high net worth families. So usually, I think family offices are focused on individuals or family, and so that's how they are set up. So why was Akego set up as a family office? So now Bill Wang, the founder of Archegos Capital, actually converted his hedge fund company Tiger Asia into the family office in 2013. In 2012, Tiger Asia had an issue with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States for market manipulation and for other irregularities. In fact, the settlement then was about $44 million because they admitted to some of the things they were accused of by SEC. So what led to their collapse? So Keikos had entered into equity swaps with several banks, and they were very highly leveraged. Because an equity swap allows you to own the shares of a company without really owning the underlying shares. So what they do is they build up highly leveraged positions in those media companies, through the several banks. Relationship they have, and then they don't really own the underlying shares. What happens is that if there's a negative movement in that, it will trigger a margin call from the banks for them to increase their collateral, which is exactly what happened. On the 24th of March, Viacom CBS, which is one of the media companies Kegos was exposed to, suffered a huge shock in their shares. So their shares actually plummeted by a large margin from around over $100 to around $41. So that triggered margin calls from many of the banks. Archegos had this equity swaps with. So they couldn't meet up. Of course, they couldn't meet up, and it led to the collapse of the company. So what is the impact on the financial market? Of course, just like it was many years ago when Lehman Brothers collapsed, this is even more so because for single family offices, they are not required to disclose as much, which means that several banks can actually be exposed to them at the same time without knowing how high their risk is, which is what happened to some of the banks which were involved in this. So Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Nomura, and Credit Suisse are some of the banks which have suffered severe losses. In fact, Credit Suisse has already confirmed that they will lose up to $4.7 billion, while Nomura says they will lose up to $2 billion. This is massive, but it's as a result, of the exposure they have to Archegos. Because equity swaps typically generate a lot of revenue for banks. In fact, Financium says in 2019 generated about $11 billion in revenue for them. It seems their risk management around this hasn't been good enough. which is what we see, which led to the collapse. And of course, to avoid such in future, even family offices have to start disclosing much. I think even the US or with whatever country, that has to happen. Otherwise, a repeat of this might be on the horizon. So that's it for the main story. The other stories we talk about Mercedes-Benz. They are going to begin production of electric vans in the US in 2023. I think every automaker right now is just looking at how to grow in the electric vehicle space. So Google also, they won the lawsuit against Oracle over the Android software. There was a case that they had been in court for a long time, where Oracle accused Google of using some lines of the Java programming in developing Android. But Google has won the case, because they said the use of the lines was protected under fair use. And then lastly, NNPC has signed a deal with Technimont for the rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refinery. So that's it on the global economic outlook for this week. The last thing we cover, of course, are the best places to visit in 2021. So you see countries like Kenya, Costa Rica, British Virgin Islands, Paris, Mexico, and some of the other names. So that's it on the global economic outlook for this week. Remember to subscribe to the channel for regular updates, and we'll be back next week with another edition. See you there.